ever feel like you're just scratching the surface of something really, really big?
Yeah.
Like there's this whole other layer of meaning just waiting if you knew how to find it.
Yeah, that feeling of wanting to go deeper.
Exactly. That's what we're aiming for today. We're going to explore this massive cultural touchstone from 1999. We've got analyses of its story structure, reflections on its impact, even some deep dives into the philosophy it kicked off. The goal is really just to get past the surface cool factor and figure out why this thing still resonates, you know?
It's amazing how it managed to be this huge, thrilling ride, but also made so many people think about reality, choice, all that big stuff.
Totally. It wasn't just popcorn fodder. It genuinely sparked conversations that are still happening.
And absolutely. It hit a nerve.
Okay, so let's start with the bones of the story. The structure, it feels very intentional, laid out in like 3 distinct acts, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Classic 3-act structure. You've got the setup, the confrontation, the resolution.
Right. And in that first act, we meet the main character, Thomas Anderson, living this pretty mundane life. But you sense this dissatisfaction. Like he knows something's off.
Yeah, that's crucial. Some of the analysis we looked at really highlights that latent potential. He's curious, feels alienated. It makes his later journey feel, well, earned, even when it gets wild.
It taps into that universal feeling, doesn't it? Is this all there is?
Precisely. That nagging question.
And then comes the follow the white rabbit moment, that inciting incident that leads him to Morpheus.
And the big choice. The red pill or the blue pill.
Such a powerful metaphor right up front. Stay comfortable in illusion or wake up to a potentially harsh truth.
It's the narrative core, really,
Yeah.
and it forces you, the viewer, to think, doesn't it? What illusions do I accept? What's the cost of awareness?
Absolutely. So Act 2 throws Neo and us into this completely new world. The training sequences.
Learning the rules of this new reality, or rather, learning that the rules can be bent.
Yeah, and the Oracle's prophecy. That's an interesting curveball, isn't it? Being told you are not the one?
It is. It's almost like it frees him from the burden of destiny. He has to find his own path, not just fulfill some pre-written role. It removes doubt later, ironically.
Interesting take. And then you have Cypher's betrayal, which ups the stakes massively.
Puts Morpheus in direct danger. It really fuels momentum heading into the climax. And it reinforces the theme of choice, even bad choices.
It all feels like it's building towards Neo's,
Yeah.
well, his becoming. Everything points that way.
Exactly. Foreshadowing is key. Morpheus's unwavering faith, the Oracle's cryptic words, even the warnings about pain, it all pays off.
And then Act 3 hits like a freight train. The lobby shootout.
Ah, wow.
Iconic. Followed by the rescue of Morpheus, Neo facing Agent Smith,
His apparent death.
which is essential for the rebirth motif.
Yeah, and then he just stands up, sees the code, stops bullets.
Full transformation. He embraces his potential.
And that final shot, him flying off, is such a definitive statement. It really is. You see how all those earlier plot points, the world building, like the desert of the real, the human battery pods, it all gives weight to that final moment of transcendence.
Okay, let's zoom in on the characters because they're more than just plot drivers. Neo, Thomas Anderson, his journey is just huge.
From like a confused cubicle drone to this messianic figure.
It's the reluctant hero archetype, isn't it? He doesn't want it, not at first.
Right. He's shy and certain. You see it in his body language early on. Compare that to him calmly stopping bullets later. It's a massive shift in confidence, in self-belief.
And the name Neo, meaning new. It's pretty on the nose, but effective.
And the death rebirth symbolism is hard to miss. Very Christ-like parallels in some interpretations.
And there's Morpheus, the mentor figure.
Rock solid. His faith is unshakable, even when Neo doubts himself. He's like the high priest of this rebellion.
He has that presence, yeah. Wisdom and authority. And he delivers some of the key philosophical lines like, what is real?
Free your mind. He's the guide, offering the framework for understanding the Matrix. And willing to sacrifice himself for the cause, for Neo.
And Trinity. She starts off as this incredibly skilled, almost intimidating warrior.
That opening rooftop chase establishes her competence immediately.
But she develops so much more depth. Her belief in Neo, her love for him, it becomes crucial.
Absolutely. Her declaration of love is literally what triggers Neo's resurrection, his final transformation. It shows that connection, emotion is powerful even within this simulated world.
She's this fearsome fighter, but also embodies compassion. The name Trinity itself invites all sorts of symbolic readings, too.
Then you have the antagonist, Agent Smith.
The ultimate G-man from hell, almost. Implacable, authoritarian.
But he's not static, is he? He undergoes his own kind of change, becoming something more than just a program, almost mirroring Neo in a dark way.
That monologue about humanity being a virus, chilling. He represents the system's rigidity, but also maybe its existential dread.
Yeah, his disgust, his desire to be free from the Matrix. It's a fascinating layer. He's not just a simple villain.
And the Oracle. So different from the others. Gentle, almost grandmotherly, but so enigmatic.
Offers guidance in riddles almost, like the Oracle of Delphi.
And her telling Neo he's not the one. It's paradoxical, but it works. It forces him to choose to be the one, rather than just accept it.
Exactly. It puts the agency back on him. Her role is about facilitating growth, not dictating outcomes.
It's really something how all these character arcs just mesh together perfectly to tell this bigger mythic story.
Each piece fits. Neo's journey, Morpheus's faith, Trinity's love, Smith's nihilism. It creates this really rich narrative fabric.
Okay, let's get into the big ideas, the themes. Reality versus illusion is obviously front and center.
Right. Plato's allegory of the cave is probably the most cited influence. People chained, seeing only shadows, mistaking them for reality.
And Neo's journey is literally that, being unchained and shown the blinding light of the real world.
It also taps into Descartes, the skepticism. How can you trust your senses? Could an evil demon be deceiving you? Or, in this case, a computer program.
And they're Eastern parallels too, right? Zhuangzi dreaming he was a butterfly.
Or the Buddhist concept of Maya, the illusory nature of the world. That feeling that what we perceive isn't the ultimate reality.
The spoon-bending scene. There is no spoon.
Yeah.
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
Exactly. Realizing that reality, or at least this reality, is fundamentally mental, malleable.
Which leads straight to control versus freedom. The red pill, blue pill choice again.
It's the ultimate symbol of choosing free will, choosing awareness, even if it's difficult, over blissful ignorance and control.
The film really emphasizes that liberation requires a conscious act. You have to choose to wake up.
But then there's the prophecy of the One, which introduces that tension with fate. Is Neo destined, or does he choose his path? The film kind of plays with both ideas.
Yeah, it doesn't give an easy answer. Identity is another huge one. Neo struggling with Thomas Anderson versus Neo.
His hacker alias, his real self, his prophesied role. Who is he, really? It's about integrating those different facets.
Even the kid bending the spoon touches on it, realizing the self is the key, not the external object.
And even Agent Smith, as we said, grapples with his identity, wanting to be more than just an agent. It's a surprisingly pervasive theme.
And we touched on it, but the messianic redemption theme is strong.
Definitely. Neo as a savior figure, the virgin birth into the real world, the self-doubt, the prophecy, the death and resurrection. It's got strong Christian echoes.
Morpheus's faith feels almost religious in its intensity.
It really does. And you've got Gnostic ideas possibly filtering in the idea of a flawed creator or a hidden knowledge needed for liberation.
Plus the direct philosophical name text. Baudrillard's Simulacra and Simulation literally appears in the movie.
Yeah, Morpheus even quotes it, "Welcome to the desert of the real." Apparently the cast had to read it.
Even though Baudrillard himself later critiqued the film for, ironically, simplifying his ideas.
Well, yeah, but the influence is undeniable. And Gibson's neuromancer, of course, for the term Matrix and the whole cyberspace hacking vibe.
It's this amazing fusion, isn't it? Western and Eastern philosophy, cyberpunk grit, Christian mythology.
Yeah.
All blended together.
It really is a melting pot of influences, which is maybe why it resonated so widely.
Let's talk visuals. That digital rain, the green code.
Yeah.
It's instantly iconic.
It is the Matrix, visually.
Yeah.
Symbolizes the artificial world constantly flowing, constructing reality.
And the color palettes. That distinct green tint for scenes inside the Matrix.
Contrasted with the colder, harsher blues and grays of the real world aboard the Nebuchadnezzar or in Zion, it's a constant visual cue.
Simple, but so effective. And the costume design, Neo and Trinity's sleek black leather, Morpheus's long coat.
Very specific aesthetic, cool, rebellious, slightly futuristic noir, contrasting sharply with the bland conformity of the Matrix office drones.
Even the ship, Zion itself, functional, industrial, worn versus the sterile, clean lines of the Matrix interiors.
It all reinforces that dichotomy between the artificial and the real. Oh, and the origin of the Matrix code itself.
Sushi recipes, right?
Yeah. Apparently scanned from the designer's wife's cookbook, a mundane source for such an iconic visual.
That's amazing. Stylistically, you mentioned cyberpunk anime.
Definitely Ghost in the Shell, maybe Akira too.
Yeah.
You see it in the action, the philosophical themes, some of the character designs.
In Hong Kong action cinema, that's huge.
Oh, absolutely. Bringing in Yuen Wu-ping for the fight choreography was genius. The wire work, the martial arts blended with gunplay.
Which brings us to bullet time.
Revolutionary. That effect just blew people's minds.
And it wasn't just for show, was it? It visually represented Neo's perception changing, time slowing down for him as he gained control.
Exactly. It's like a visual metaphor for consciousness operating at a different speed within the simulation. Seeing the codes, seeing the bullets.
Practically, how do they even do that? A ring of cameras.
Yeah, basically. A complex setup of still cameras firing in sequence, combined with CGI to smooth it out. Flow-mo, they called it sometimes.
The results were just stunning. Trinity sliding under gunfire, Neo dodging bullets on the rooftop.
That rooftop scene is key. He dodges, but he still gets clipped, right? He's not fully there yet. It shows his progression.
Compared to the end where he just stops them, the action really illustrates his psychological journey. Right. Hesitation versus mastery.
For sure. That blend of Eastern martial arts grace with Western firepower created a whole new action language. It raised the bar.
You can see its influence everywhere afterwards.
Definitely. It became almost a visual cliche for a while, but its initial impact was enormous, like Akira or Crouching Tiger in terms of changing how action could look.
So just to recap some of those philosophical and literary links we touched on, Baudrillard's simulacra and simulation is central.
Yep. Premise, visual nod, direct quote, foundational text for the film's ideas.
Gibson's Neuromancer for the cyberpunk DNA.
Essential context for the world building and themes.
Anime like Akira and Ghost in the Shell for style and substance.
Visual and thematic influences.
Taoist and Hindu ideas like Zhuangzi's butterfly or Maya.
Adding layers of questioning reality.
Gnostic and Christian myths.
Neo's arc, Trinity's name, themes of salvation.
Plus Plato, Descartes.
Yeah.
Even later thinkers get connected, like Nozick's experience machine or Bostrom's simulation argument looking back.
Right, the film became a touchstone for those later philosophical discussions about simulated reality. It tapped into something deep and maybe even prophetic.
Okay, let's revisit some specific scenes, thinking about how they land with the viewer. Neo's awakening in the pod, that reveal.
Oh, it was horrifying. Visceral. The sound design, the dark, gooey visuals. You feel his terror and confusion as the scale of the deception hits him. Pure body horror, almost.
It's a point of no return. And it starkly establishes the stakes.
Absolutely. Sets up everything that followed.
And the red pill, blue pill scene itself. Morpheus laying it all out.
Such a masterclass in exposition and tension. The close-ups, the reflections in Morpheus's glasses, the choice presented so starkly. It's the philosophical heart of the movie distilled into one dialogue.
And its impact on pop culture is just immense. That phrase is everywhere now.
Totally detached from the original context sometimes, but still powerful.
The lobby shootout. Pure adrenaline.
Yeah, the introduction of that intense flow-mo action, Trinity's acrobatics, Neo starting to act, not just react, the slow-motion destruction.
It's almost balletic in its violence, the rhythm of it, cutting between wide shots and close-ups.
It felt groundbreaking, a baptism by fire for Neo, showing him what's possible, an endlessly parodied since, which is always a sign of impact.
Then the rooftop jump and bullet dodging sequence.
Trinity's leap of faith, literally. And Neo's attempt, he fails, showing he's still limited by his belief.
Right. And then the bullet dodging, seeing that effect wrap around Neo.
It's his first real taste of manipulating the Matrix. Still defensive, not offensive yet, but a huge step. Trinity has to save him afterwards, reinforcing their bond.
Foreshadows his later mastery perfectly. That jump became a meme too, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And finally, the showdown with Smith. It brings everything together.
Trinity's declaration of love, Smith seemingly killing Neo, fulfilling the Oracle's prophecy in a way.
One of you is going to die. And then the resurrection. Neo opening his eyes, seeing the code.
Goosebumps moment. The music swells, the visuals shift. He sees the illusion for what it is.
Stopping the bullets with his hand, effortlessly.
The ultimate power move. And then walking into Smith, destroying him from the inside. It's symbolic rebirth, transcendence, mastery.
Culmination of everything. Love, choice, self-belief, and then the final flight, the promise of change.
Leaves you on such a high note.
Okay, let's talk legacy. Its cultural footprint is just massive.
Huge. Terms like red pill, blue pill, glitch in the Matrix, there is no spoon. They're just part of the language now.
Red pill especially has taken on a life of its own in various, sometimes controversial online communities.
Yeah, it's become shorthand for waking up to a perceived hidden truth, whatever that truth might be. Shows the power of the original metaphor.
Visually, its influence is everywhere. Movies, TV shows, video games like Max Payne, building mechanics around bullet time.
Comic books, advertisements, the visual homages are endless. It really changed the look of action cinema. More slow-mo, more CGI integration, different kinds of heroes.
It even got preserved in the U.S. National Film Registry, which is quite something for a sci-fi action film.
Speaks to its significance. And it launched sequels, the Animatrix, games, comics, a whole franchise.
The references just never stop. You see them constantly, even now.
And it keeps getting invoked in serious discussions about VR, AI, simulation theory. Bostrom's argument really gained traction partly because people had this film as a cultural reference point.
It tapped into and arguably amplified anxieties about technology, control, cyber paranoia. Hacker culture got a mainstream spotlight.
That green code aesthetic is still used to signify techie or hacker stuff.
It really did transform the vernacular, didn't it? Beyond just catchphrases, it gave people a new way to talk about reality, politics, philosophy.
For better or worse sometimes,
Yeah.
but undeniably influential. It managed to be this massive blockbuster and a philosophical Rorschach test.
So, wrapping up, this 1999 work, it's just incredibly dense, isn't it? Multi-layered, tackling huge questions about what's real, what it means to be free, who we are.
All through groundbreaking storytelling and visuals, it wasn't just style over substance. The style served the substance.
And its impact on culture, on filmmaking, on how we even talk about ideas. It's undeniable and ongoing.
Absolutely. A true landmark piece that managed to entertain and provoke in equal measure.
So here's something to chew on, a final thought for you listening. Considering this whole exploration of manufactured realities, simulations, powerful narratives shaping perception, how do you sort through the noise? In today's world, flooded with information and competing stories, how do you figure out what's a genuine insight versus just another well-crafted illusion?
That's the question, isn't it? Maybe the first step is just asking it.